Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden and welcome to my May front garden tour. This past month I've been like a kid in a candy store because I have all this open space in this new garden. We just moved in last August and it was bare. There was absolutely nothing here and I have just been having such a fun time putting plants in. I don't think I'm ever going to have an opportunity to put as many plants in as I'm putting in this year, and it's just been amazing. And I have so many more to plant and I have so much plans, and it's just like every day is just fun. It's a fun gardening day. So things are starting to bloom. The weather's starting to get really, really nice. We've been up in the 70s, high 70s, I would say, on average, and the plants are absolutely loving it. Now, we're still having, we're still working out some kinks since it's a new property. Irrigation has been a pain. The weeds have been a pain. It's just kind of all that stuff that you have to work through. But Jason and I think we're getting a handle on it. And again, it's going to take us a couple years to get this place like really, really perfect, but the journey is the fun part, and we are smack in the middle of the journey right now, and it has been a blast. So let me head up to on top of this berm. It's not that tall, but at least I can show you the whole property. And I will turn around slowly and just give you guys a good overview about what the front garden is looking like. So over here in front of the house, we have the zigzag planter with the 3 white pots. We just planted those up. And then over here on this side, this is the, what is this? North side of my garden. This is my orchard. So about from here all the way over to the fence line over there is what I'm calling my orchard, because I have 2 orange trees, a pomegranate tree, a fig tree, and a lime tree. And then I'm also calling this garden my Best for the West garden. And everything that I've planted in this garden is my climate appropriate. And my climate is in Northern California. I'm zone 9B. We are very hot and we are very dry. And so that's pretty different than a lot of when people talk about hot climates. A lot of times when people talk about hot climates, they talk about humid climates. And I feel like we get forgotten a lot, the hot, arid climates, because we have different plants that we need to plant. We need to plant plants that can handle the dry summers. And so that's what I'm trying to do with this garden, is I'm trying to just show what we can plant in our Mediterranean climate, and show like the beauty that can come with this climate. So then past that, I have my willow tree garden bed. There's my willow tree right there. That garden bed, I have no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just having fun with it. This center island right here, Jason and I had planned not to do anything with it this year due to budget. We have all these plans. We're going to do a gazebo right where I'm standing, and then we're going to do this path, or not a pathway, dry creek bed, kind of meandering all the way down there. We're going to do a pathway across this way. It's going to be really beautiful, but we can't do it this year. So I was going to leave it completely blank, but instead I decided to put in a cut flower garden because I already had the drip irrigation, I already had the seeds, might as well. So I've been working on that, and that is coming along beautifully. And then finally over here, this is what I call the long border, right along this fence right here. And this I am going to be planting up with whatever trees I love and, make me excited, basically. And that, I could plant kind of like a row of all the same tree, or repeating the same couple trees over and over again, but that's just not me. I love all the plants. I love everything. And so I'm just gonna have fun with it, and I'm just gonna put all the beautiful trees so that I can walk down and look at all these interesting, shrubs and trees and all that kind of stuff. And so it probably would be more stunning if I just planted all of the same one, but again, that's just not me. And then I did want to point out, before anybody leaves a comment or anything like that, yes, this is a propane tank. Again, budgetary restrictions, we cannot move this year, possibly not even next year. The cost of moving it is astronomical. We've already had a couple people here give us quotes. We cannot bury it because there's a septic tank underneath there. Yes, I will be planting something around it or putting some type of structure around it. But I also think it's important to show this. I want you all to see that, you know, I have a propane tank. I have an air conditioning system over there. I have weeds. This is a normal garden, right? And I don't want anyone to look at my garden and think, you know, it's unattainable or something like that. You know, and I run around and I fix stuff up before I film it. I want you all to see this type of stuff because this is what real gardens look like. I mean, I assume I have a real garden. So yes, there's a propane tank there. It's going to stay there. You know, hopefully I'll be able to disguise it, but you know, we all have stuff like that. And if you do have something like that, I don't want you to feel bad about it. Okay, so let me start with the zigzag planter. So I just planted this up just this past week and I love it. I think it's going to be so interesting, the color story. So first off, I have these purple fountain grasses that I planted last fall. They're starting to grow up now. They're gonna get these beautiful seed heads on it. And when the wind comes, they they have this beautiful movement and it's just gorgeous. I love it up here. So I have those, and then I also have this Diachondra Silver Falls. And then I did plant some proven winners, Artist Blue Floss Flower, which is this gorgeous ageratum, and it stays that blue color all season long. It's absolutely beautiful. And then I do have Super Buna Pink Cashmere as well. And that's going to be the main showstopper in this garden bed once that grows in, because oh my goodness, the Super Buna Pink Cashmere is just such a beautiful color. So I'm really excited about this color combination with the dark purple fountain grass, the silvery Diachondra Silver Falls, the bright blue Artist Blue, and then the different shades of pink cashmere. Then I did these pots in one of my favorite plants, which is heliotrope. This one is called Fragrant Delight, and it is just I mean, that's the best name for it because it's so fragrant and it's so beautiful and it's just, oh, I just love this plant. Here's a good bloom. I literally just planted these yesterday, so hopefully they'll start filling in, and my plan is to sit up on the deck, drink my coffee, and smell my heliotrope. So coming over here, we have added this little patio in. This is decomposed granite in between. We are going to be putting mulch glue or gravel glue down because you can see that it does kind of get all over the place. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. Jason was talking to me yesterday and he was saying it's so funny, this item on our to-do list, it keeps getting pushed down because other things keep taking priority. So we will do it for sure. We just haven't gotten around to it yet. Same thing as planting up the pots by the front door. We're going to be doing that as well. Here is my Star Jasmine Espalier. It's beautiful. I did have to replant this one right here, and this one, it's starting to look good. The other one that I had there just for some reason just died. It just absolutely died. I have no idea why, but I'm trying not to shade it. But we do have buds all over this. It's about to start blooming. Ooh, I see some blooms. Look at that. Gorgeous. So I love Star Jasmine. I love, 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 love Star Jasmine. It is such a beautiful plant. And this is just one big blank wall. I'm squinting right now because it's so bright. And I just think having the espalier on it is going to be gorgeous. Underneath, I did a kind of like a black and white garden, or at least I tried to do a black and white garden. This is black mondo grass from Isley Nursery. Beautiful. It's growing. It's looking gorgeous. What's not looking as pretty is this bush morning glory. It's supposed to have these white blooms, and I have not seen a bloom in weeks. And so I'm gonna leave it in, but I think I'm gonna supplement this black and white garden with some white annuals just to make sure I do have that white color, because I don't know, this is kind of a disappointment to me at this point, but that's all right. Right here, I have this lavender, what is it called? Lavender Falls Redbud. Beautiful. It's a new tree. It's, you know, I just planted it. It's starting to leaf out and it's just looking, it's going to be a beautiful specimen tree. I am gonna have a fence that kind of goes around like this, that I'll probably have some, you know, vining plants growing up. So this is gonna be kind of like an enclosed courtyard. So kind of just think of that as I'm walking through here. Okay, over there is my shade garden, but I'll go over that in my backyard garden tour because I just have so much to show you in this garden tour. So like I said, this is my Best for the West garden, or my orchard, and I am having so much fun planting in this garden. This is the garden that I'm putting the majority of my effort into this year. So you'll see I'll be planting a lot of plants in this garden. So first of all, I have this Denim and Lace purple Russian sage. It's looking beautiful. It's really happy in this spot because it's dry and it's hot. And I'm just excited to have like a whole like swath of this Russian sage. I think it's going to be really pretty. Behind there, I just planted some really weird plants that I got from Annie's Annuals. This is called Tower of Jewels. I'll put a picture up right now. So that's going to get really tall, but it's not going to look like much this year. It'll look really pretty and it'll actually bloom next year. So this is going to kind of be an empty space, but we'll get there. And then right here is a euphorbia. That should grow pretty quickly, but again, I'm not expecting much from those plants this year, but we'll get there. Right here, this rose, this is called Romantica Ball Gown. Look at how beautiful that rose is. This rose has been blooming for a while now, and it just is looking gorgeous. It's gonna get about 6 feet tall. I do have some aphids I can see. It's gonna get about 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide, and so it's going to be a pretty big rose for right here, but I think it's gonna be perfect to have that. So the big rose and then the Russian sage kind of in front of it, which I just think will be gorgeous. This weird thing is a summer drummer allium. I had a couple of these. My friend Robbie helped me plant them. I had 2 come up, and you know, it's because they had no irrigation to them, and they were just like, I hurt my foot last fall, and so basically I wasn't able to come out here and like take care of any of these alliums. So I think I'm gonna plant more next year, but at least I had 2, one here and one back there, be able to go. They're the coolest plants. They're like, they can get up to 6 feet tall. This one is almost 6 feet tall. I'm 5'7", and this one is close to 5'7", but they get these little allium balls on there, but it's just the neatest thing because they're just so tall and they bloom for so long. It's so cool. So over in this area, I have a Miss Molly butterfly bush that's starting to put on some growth, and later in the season, it'll start blooming these beautiful magenta blooms. I do have this hot and cold Nyphophia right here that I'm just loving. It is so pretty, and I can see this color from my kitchen, you know, through that window right there, you can see my kitchen, and it just is, it's just gorgeous. So this, I'll show you my orange blaze Nyphophia in a minute. You'll see how many blooms you're gonna get. I just planted these maybe like, I don't know, like a week or so ago. And so these are gonna get big and beautiful and gonna be so bright, and I love it. And they're kind of poking up behind these Iceberg Roses, and it's the combination is just amazing. I've said it a million times, these Iceberg Roses are incredible. These Iceberg Roses, so I used to call Iceberg Roses parking lot plants. Honestly, I still call them parking lot plants because they're in the parking lots, you know, all around here, and they're in between, they're like in the dividers and in between roads. But there's a reason that they're doing so well in those parking lots and in between roads. It's because they bloom and they just keep blooming and they just keep blooming, and they're so gorgeous and they take no effort. And, you know, a parking lot plant, there's a reason. So I love my Iceberg Roses, which is so funny because I before, like a couple years ago, I refused to plant Iceberg Roses. It's too funny. So right in front of the Iceberg Roses, I have kind of like a grouping of what's called Meteor Shower Verbena, and they are these beautiful like drumstick purple flowers. These are new. They're going to start growing pretty quickly, but these are Verbena bonariensis, and I have planted Verbena bonariensis by seed before. That was a huge mistake because they reseed prolifically in my area. And at my last property, I'm sure there are still seedlings all over the place from the Verbena bonariensis that I planted. So Meteor shower verbena is bred to be sterile, so I'm not going to have to worry about that with these. They're still going to come back for me every year because they're what's considered a temperennial. They're sold as an annual, but in my zone, zone 9B, they will overwinter, so they're technically a perennial, but you call it a temperennial. And then in front of that, another temperennial is lemon coral sedum, which is just this beautiful pop of chartreuse. I need more of this color in this garden, you'll see. And so I am planning to add more of this color as, you know, as time goes on, as I keep adding and adding and adding things. These beautiful flowers right here, these are called Paint the Town Fuchsia Dianthus. They are gorgeous. They've been blooming a little bit all season long, like all winter long, and now they're just starting to go crazy. They're looking really, really pretty, and I can't wait till they kind of grow together and just make this big mass of fuchsia. It's going to be beautiful. So coming along the pathway, first I want to show you kind of over here. This is kind of like the Best for the West little shade garden. First of all, look at my alliums over here. The alliums are loving their life over here. They are so beautiful, so, so pretty. I need to add way more of these. Way back here, I have a Gatsby Pink Oakleaf Hydrangea. And I know it's kind of funny, I planted a hydrangea in my Best for the West garden, but I planted this on purpose because Oakleaf hydrangeas actually do really, really well in hot climates. They're the one hydrangea that can handle the heat, they can handle less water, and you can see it's thriving. Like, look at all the bloom heads that are on here. So this is gonna get really big. This is gonna get 8 feet tall and 8 feet wide. But man, I just think it's going to be a showstopper once it grows up. Okay, and then this little garden bed right here, basically from here over to my pomegranate tree, this is my lavender/artichoke garden. And this, I think, perfectly describes the Best for the West. We have Sweet Romance lavender right here that is just loving its life. It smells so good. And again, they're still babies. I just planted them this last month. But they're gonna grow up, they're gonna get really big, and they're gonna come back every year. They're going to be beautiful. In between those, well, first of all, let me point out my artichoke. I bought this artichoke as a plant. I think it was a 1 gallon. It is just like doubling in size almost every day, it seems like. It's crazy. So I have 1, 2, 3 artichokes on there. I am not going to eat these artichokes. I'm gonna let them flower because they flower at this stunning, stunning purple color. It is so beautiful. We have a lot of artichokes around this area, and when they start flowering, when people let them go to bloom, I can see it from my car when I'm driving by, and I just turn and I look at it, and it's just so beautiful. So I'm really excited to have this. But then in addition to this, I planted another plant. Here's a baby one. I planted them from seed. These are called cardoons. And cardoons are basically like a cousin of artichokes. They look almost exactly the same. The flowers look almost exactly the same. Cardoons, you don't want to eat the bulb. You want to eat the stalks, but you have to do all this crazy things with the stalks. So it's really just an ornamental plant, I would say. But I planted a ton of them all around here. They're going to get huge, by the way. This whole place is going to just be filled with cardoons, and it's going to look beautiful. I'm really, really excited about it. So these guys are starting to they're getting really big, and you know, we're gonna start seeing some flowers, I think, pretty soon, because they grow really, really fast once they get started. So yeah, I'm really excited about this garden bed. I think it's gonna be just stunning once it fills in. So at the end of the artichoke and lavender bed, I have my pomegranate tree. And I think, you know, I've been going back and forth the past couple months on whether I like this tree or not. It's a bit of a messier tree, I would say. Like, it just kind of looks scrubby. I've cleaned it up, I've limbed up the bottom, and I think I'm okay with it like that. I think it looks a lot neater. I think I am gonna keep it. For those of you who are team pomegranate tree, I think I am gonna keep it because it is really established. I'll get tons of pomegranates off of it. This is an orchard, so I guess I should have a pomegranate tree. And it does have really, really beautiful blooms on it. So that's, you know, that's fun to have this time of year. And if you can see, they're all over. This is a very prolific pomegranate tree. So I think I will keep it. I think that that's a decision. You know, I reserve the right to take it out in a couple years if I want to. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm just not totally gung-ho about this tree, but I guess we all have, you know, our likes and our dislikes in the garden. In this garden bed right here, I've planted, oh my goodness, this is gonna be incredible once it grows up. First of all, I'll show you my Rise Up Embrace rose. This rose is a stunner. It is so beautiful, the color, and look at with the NEPA behind it. Oh my goodness, I just love it. So this rose it's a climbing rose, so I do have this little Meteor or Obelisk right here that it's climbing up, but you can see it's a little bit bushier than a climbing rose. So I think I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna kind of lash it to the area to try and train it up a little bit, but kind of is more like a bushy climbing rose, I would say. These little bushes right here, these are Banana Cream 2 Shasta Daisies, so those should start blooming pretty quickly. And then here I have a bunch of one of my favorite plants, which is Plain the Blue Salvia. It's going to be so beautiful once it grows up. So here's the colors. I have Plain the Blue Salvia, which is like a deep purple blue. Then I have Sun Credible Sunflower, which is going to be that beautiful, bright, happy yellow. I have Raspberry Superbina right in front of it. That's going to be, you know, like this deep magenta pink. And the combination, I'm just so excited about the combination. And once it all fills in, I do want to put what's called a Vertigo Pennisetum right here, which gets like 8 feet tall, and it's this dark foliage and it's beautiful. So I'm hoping to get that. I did find one and it's getting sent to me. So I'll be planting that there. And this whole garden bed is just, oh, it's just so exciting. I can see it. I know what I want it to look like. Everything's planted. Now I just have to be patient and I just have to wait. These right here, these are called Jukebox Pyrochames. They are supposed to be an alternative to boxwood for hot weather climates, but you can see the issue that I'm having. So I do have a dog, a male dog named Monty, and he has decided to use these bushes as a potty. And so, yeah, I think I'm gonna end up taking these out. And then, I mean, I might leave just those 3 right there, but I don't know. I was hoping to do like to kind of start a hedge of them because you can actually prune them into a hedge, but now I just think it looks kind of funky with 2 of these ruined. And if he ends up peeing on these other 3, then, you know, then we're kind of out of luck. So anyways, that was kind of a miss for my garden, unfortunately, and it's just because of my dog. Okay, look at how beautiful this is. This is exactly what I imagined, by the way, for this little area right here. Not the weeds, I'll tell you about those in a second, but this is Cat's Pajamas NEPA, which is stunning. I don't know if you can see, but there are bees all over it. The bright purple color is just so beautiful, and they are doing so well in my Best for the West garden, and they say they're only good to zone 8, and I'm zone 9B. So that's why, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to grow Best for the West garden, so that we all could see that some of these plants that say zone 8 or even zone 7 actually do really well in dry heat versus humid heat. Right behind that, I have more of the Nyphophia. This is called Orange Blaze, and look at how beautiful this combination is together. I didn't come up with this combination. I copied it from Walter's Gardens Display Gardens. So these Proven Winners gets their perennials from a place called Walter's Gardens that has the most quality, like I can't even describe, like quality plants. They're so good, and they have display gardens in Michigan, and they had these plantings. They actually had Cat's Pajamas NEPA with the hot and cold Nyphophia, which I had planted up there, but I did Orange Blaze, and I just love it. Right behind there, I have a swath of more of the Denim and Lace Russian Sage, so that's going to grow up, and then I'm going to have more of a purple contrast with the Orange Blaze Nyphophia, and then behind that, I have what's called Chiclet Orange Esperanza or Tacoma, and this is a best for the West plant for sure. This is incredible. The hummingbirds have been all over it. They are obsessed with this plant. This plant's gonna get pretty big. I'll put the stats on the screen right now. It's still just a baby, but oh my goodness, I'm really excited about it. These kind of scrubby looking plants right here, these are called Chasmanthe, and they were here when I moved in. They kind of, I tried cutting them back and they just came. They're a really beautiful plant. I'll have to come in, I have to deadhead everything, but they tend to spread a lot in my area, so I'll kind of have to watch it and make sure that they just don't get out of control. So as I'm here, I want to point out my drip irrigation. We had to completely redo the drip irrigation in this garden, the whole property. And it's just, it's been an issue, I guess is what I'll say. So this spot right here, it actually had popped off, and I mean, like, I'm mad at myself because I didn't notice for like days. I didn't notice. And so this whole area was getting soaked with water. You can kind of see on the decomposed granite. It was just getting soaked and soaked and soaked. And every morning the drip irrigation was going off and it was getting more and more soaked, and I just wasn't paying attention to it, you guys. It's completely my fault. And so I do the no-till method in this garden. And so basically I have 6 inches of compost. And when you mix compost with weeds and lots of water, you get even more weeds. And so Jason and I, we have to come in, and I think we're actually going to use the Captain Jack herbicide just to kind of start killing off this Bermuda grass that I have in here, because it's just, I mean, it looks like I have a lawn basically underneath these plants, and it's really this spot that's like the worst spot. But you know, it's something that we can take care of. We will figure it out, but it's just something that we're going to have to continue to manage for the next couple years. I think they say that if weeds go to seed, 1 year, you have 7 years of dealing with the weeds in your garden. So I have 7 years to deal with the weeds in my garden and to hopefully get them under control. You know, and I'm not going to get frustrated about it. It's just something that every day we do a little bit of weeding, you know, and we're staying pretty much on top of it, but it's of course not perfect. And again, I want to show you all that it's not perfect, right? It's just not gonna be perfect. But you know, it's still a beautiful garden bed. All right, then right behind that, I have this gorgeous, gorgeous fig tree. This is probably one of my favorite things in my whole garden. It's just massive. I can't even, oh, it's just so beautiful. And it's such a statement piece, and it just makes me so happy to have this fig tree here. So I will be making fig jam, I will be making fig pie, like whatever I have to make with figs, I will be making this year, and I'm very excited about it. My mom knows how to make jam. She needs to show me, Mom. You know, I just love this tree. I just love it so much. Right in front of that, I have another plant that I'm in love with. This is called Pink Profusion Salvia, and this plant wins for the best color this time of year. This has been blooming for a couple weeks now. There are bees all over it. I want to double, literally double the amount of this Pink Profusion I have here, because it is so beautiful. It's just, I mean, it's just solid blooms right now. It's so pretty. So hopefully we'll get some more of that. Maybe not this year, but next year. I have my lime tree right here. It smells so good. It smells so good. So every time I rub up against this, I can smell limes. You can see I have blooms here. More buds there. I think it's going to be really pretty. Last year we had so many limes on this tree, so many limes. We didn't use anywhere near enough of them. So again, I'll be making some fig jam and I'll be making some mojitos, right? I think that that'll be perfect. So over here is kind of a cute little garden bed. It has back in black sedum right here that's starting to grow in, looking really pretty. One of my favorite plants is this Helen von Stein lamb's ear. This is known as the big ear lamb's ear. You can see how big these leaves are compared to the regular size lamb's ear leaves. Can't talk right now. And these are young. These are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as the season goes. And I just love the soft foliage. I need more of these in this garden. So I'm gonna get more of these, and I'm gonna get more of the Pink Profusion. I have my deodar cedar, and then all around that I planted what's called Homestead Verbina, which is another plant that is just a rock star in our area. And this plant is actually from Alabama. Am I right about that? Alabama or Georgia? Gosh, I don't remember right now. But it is, you know, it's a southern plant, and it's just the most beautiful color. I just planted these last week, so these are gonna fill in, and it's just gonna be this big swath of Homestead Verbena, and it's just the most gorgeous plant. I chose this plant as my April blooming garden. So what I do is every month, what I'm doing is every month this year, I am planting a plant that's blooming that month. So next year I can come and every month there'll be something really beautiful blooming. So Homestead Verbena was for my April blooming garden, and I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Okay, I cannot wait to show you all this. Oh, it looks so good. So this is my Matilla Poppy. It has, I don't know, what do you say, 10 times increased in size since I planted it. I planted it last fall. These plants you want to plant last fall. This is also known as a fried egg poppy, and it is just the coolest thing. It's the coolest plant. I'm so excited. They're known for having trouble getting established, and you can see there's truth in that, because you can see this one is like so happy. It's almost it is 6 feet tall because it's taller than I am. Let's see. 7 feet tall, I'll say. I mean, it's just incredible. It's incredible. Well, look at this one. I planted this at the exact same time, and it's just not quite, it's still there. It's still doing fine. It's just not doing as well. And so, I don't know, it's just kind of the plant that, like, I think this one's going to be fine and it's going to catch up to the other one, but isn't that funny, the difference of them? So, most beautiful blooms. They're so gorgeous. They do really well. These are not hooked up to drip. They're just sitting there. Every once in a while I'll come and I'll supplement it with some water, but next year I won't water it probably at all. These grow like all over for us. They're stunning. They're just stunning plants, and I'm so happy to have these in my garden. Oh, I wanted to point out, look at this plant. This is called Boomlada Hardy geranium. This plant is another one that is a zone 8 plant. You know, I don't know what the low zone is, but it's up to zone 8. But it came back, it's blooming, it's perfectly happy. There's another one over there and another one right there. And the purple color is just beautiful, really, really pretty. I planted that right next to the brilliant pink Iceberg Rose. If you all didn't know, Iceberg Roses come in a bunch of different colors, and one of them is pink. And so this one is absolutely gorgeous. It's been, this rose I think was the very first rose to start blooming for me. I have to go around and I have to fertilize my roses. I'm past due. I fertilized the first of the month, everything that I need to fertilize, you know, on a 4 to 6 week basis. All right, this is actually a tree right here. This is called the Seven Suns flower tree. This has been a tree on my wish list, and I'm so happy to have it. And it's, you know, it's settling in, it's rooting in really well. It's gonna get pretty tall, I think about 10 feet tall and wide. It has these beautiful, beautiful white blooms kind of in late summer, fall. But then the really cool thing about this plant is after the blooms are done, the blooms drop off, and then it has these rosy pink bracts on it. So you basically get a double show of blooms with this tree. Then in the winter, it has really beautiful peeling bark. And then in the spring, of course, you get these gorgeous leaves. So loving, loving this tree. I think this is the perfect spot for it. It's right next to my weeping willow that I have kind of like strapped in to within an inch of its life, but it's finally starting to look good. Like you can see, look at the strap. The strap is kind of loose now at this point, which means that this branch is finally getting used to growing over here on this side. And it's looking straight, and I'm really, really happy with it. So I'll leave these straps on for, I don't know, another month or so, and then I'll see if I can take them off and see how it does. But yeah, the willow tree, it's looking gorgeous. It's gonna be a showstopper in this garden. Okay, and then in this random raised bed right here. So when we moved in, there was this raised bed, there was 2 or 3 plum trees, and then there was another raised bed right there. We already took out that raised bed, and we are planning to take out this raised bed. But for now, we might as well leave it because, you know, we're not going to do any more demo this year. We'll have to wait till next year. So there's all these lavenders that were already established here. They're looking beautiful. The bees are loving them. And then what I did is I came in and I planted a whole bunch of bearded iris that has been kind of gradually blooming. It's funny because it's not blooming at the same time. I'm getting like 1 bloom here, 1 bloom there. Here's this one. Isn't that gorgeous? I don't have a tag on this one, so I don't know what variety it is, but it's really, really beautiful. And it's been fun to see them. And the bearded iris will naturalize for me, so they'll keep getting more and more and more. When I do demo this area, I will be transplanting the bearded iris to another part of my garden. I wanted to give you all an update of my Gladiola bed. So this is in the long border right over here. This area is absolutely the worst soil in my whole garden. Do you even call it soil? There's so much gravel and stones and rocks mixed in. It's just absolutely terrible. So I planted gladiolas in it, and obviously the gladiolas are doing great. And so what I'm doing this year, I'm doing succession planting. Every couple weeks I'm planting a new round of gladiolas. So I should have a really beautiful show of gladiolas for months, I would say. Next year, I can just leave them in the ground and they'll actually naturalize. Next year, I'll just get one big show and then it'll be over. You know, they won't continue to succession bloom, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but at least this year I might as well do that. Here, this is called a Melianthus major. This is another weird plant that I planted, and it's otherwise known as the peanut butter plant. So when you come here and you rub the leaves and then smell it, it smells just like peanut butter. Just like peanut butter. It is the weirdest thing. This is gonna get 10 by 10, so it's gonna get huge. So just be prepared. I know it looks kind of funky right now, but just wait. It's gonna be beautiful. Let me show you a clip of a mature one that is at Cottage Gardens of Petaluma, and you can kind of see what this amazing plant is gonna look like. Okay, then coming down the long border, I have a pink velour crepe myrtle, and it is leafed out. I don't quite see any buds, maybe the tiniest little buds, but I love crepe myrtles. I need more crepe myrtles in my garden for sure, but that's my first one. I have a Monterey cypress, which is that beautiful chartreuse color that I need more of. Some more random bearded iris, an apricot tree that has beautiful apricots on it. Yes, this should be over in my orchard, but this was here when we moved in, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Wichita blue juniper. I love this tree. It just has the most gorgeous icy blue foliage. This tree, I always tell people about this, this tree is rated only to zone 7. But if you know about sunset growing zones are made by the Sunset Garden magazine, and they take into account humidity, wind, rainfall, all this kind of stuff. Wichita blue juniper is sunset growing zones 1 through 24, and I'm sunset growing zone 14, so it's perfect. So the USDA zones, they're not very specific, so you have to take them with a grain of salt. Okay, then here I have my March blooming garden. It's not looking like much right now because it's May. I have a azalea back there that's pretty much done. I need to clean it up, so it's not looking that great, but that's okay. It's supposed to look good in March. Here I have my high fragrance Chamilia, which I only got 2 blooms off of this plant this year, but I did just plant it last fall. So I'm gonna be patient with it. The blooms were gorgeous, but the foliage is really beautiful to have right here as well. I do have, my neighbor has this almond tree that I love, and it does give off quite a lot of shade in this spot. So this Chamilia right here is actually perfect. So this Chamilia is evergreen. My Wichita blue juniper is evergreen. My Monterey cypress, that chartreuse one, is evergreen. And then the other evergreen is this purple hopseed. And this purple hopseed has these dark bronzy leaves, and then it has these pink papery flowers that come in the spring. It's so close to blooming. It's just about to start blooming, so I'll have to show you all when it does start blooming. So this tree I got to contrast all the other colors that I have. The dark green, the silvery blue, the chartreusey green. I think that I need this color to make everything else pop. I think it's really important to have this in your garden. Then the last thing I want to show you in my long border is my Magnolia Stada. This one's done blooming for the season. It has these beautiful white starry-like blooms. This tree is going to get about 15 feet tall, 12 feet wide. And again, I'm just really excited to have it because it's such an interesting tree. And it's going to be a stunner once it grows up. Okay, then last thing I want to show you from my May front garden tour is my flower field. So I still have more to plant. You can see I've been working on these. I've been coming out, listening to my audiobook and planting these up. It's, you know, I still have more that I want to plant in here. I think I might even add a couple more lines of drip irrigation. But so far I have a lot of the stuff in and it's growing really, really well, which is exciting to see. I have a lot of zinnias. I have a lot of cosmos. I have a lot of gomphrena. I have some Mrs. Burns lemon cypress right here. So it's just going to be a whole bunch of flowers in the center island. And then if you can see right here, it's really hard to see. I did spray in white spray an outline of a pathway. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cover it with mulch, and it's just going to be this pathway that you can walk through. And then as you walk through it, you're going to come to this arch right here, and I'm planning to move one of my benches right by this arch. This arch has Mexican sunflower or tithonia on either side, so that's going to grow up to be, I mean, like, I think it gets like 20 feet tall. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And then hopefully I'll be able to put the bench in between the arch, and that'll just be a nice sweet spot to sit. So again, this is kind of like a last minute planting for this area, but I think it's really fun because I had all this open space and I might as well use it. And then it just doesn't put so much pressure on Jason and I to, you know, to landscape the center island as quickly. And so we can take our time and make sure that we're making the right decisions. And so this just kind of gives us a chance to breathe, I guess I'll say. I did want to show one more thing that's not the prettiest, but it will look very pretty. So when Jason and I planted up the zigzag planter, I had all these daffodils in there, and I didn't want to throw them away. Daffodils naturalize for us, and so we decided to transplant them out in front of our fence. You can see there's the house over there. This is our front fence. This is our street. And so we planted this big swath of daffodils. Oh my goodness, it's so huge. We planted them. This is the Bloom Factory blend, and they don't look beautiful now, but they're soaking in the sun. I'm just gonna let them die back and then hope that they will pop up next year. I think that they absolutely will. And then we're gonna have this incredible show of daffodils up in the front here. I'm thinking about, you know, having more plants, planting more plants up here. I had planned to do a native only garden, which was my plan, but here's what I'm thinking now. So I have this little grouping of plants, this random grouping of plants right here. And what these plants were plants that were in my zigzag planter in the fall. So I have this verbena, I don't even remember what it was. What was it? Lascar Burgundy verbena here, and then I have some Rudbeckia that's really, really pretty. I didn't want to throw these plants away because they're perennials for us here in Zone 9B. This is some Indian hawthorn, La Vida Moss Indian hawthorn. I didn't want to throw these plants away, and so I just transplanted them out here to this kind of random spot here. And so I thought, wouldn't the front, you know, in front of the fence where all the daffodils are, wouldn't that be a great spot that whenever I had a plant that I didn't want to get rid of, but I didn't want in the spot anymore, I could just transplant it out there. And so it's kind of like, I don't want to call it my leftover garden bed, but it's kind of a leftover garden bed. But it could be really, really cool to just, instead of giving a plant away or instead of tossing it, to just transplant it out to the front and, you know, see what happens with it, right? It's free, it's, you know, saves time and energy and money and waste, and, you know, I think it'll be really fun. I think it'll be really interesting. Okay, so I think that is it for my May front garden tour. I have so many more plants to plant. I have so many more fun things to show you once everything starts blooming. So please consider subscribing so that you can follow along with this fun journey. This year is going to be such a blast because everything is going to be changing so quickly. I will be filming a back garden tour for May. I probably won't film that until next week, so stay tuned for that. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.